Hi, I'm Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies, and today I want to talk about the Carbon Air 34. Now, I set up this bow for hunting, as a hunting bow, and basically I was trying to choose a bow for hunting. Now, choosing a bow for hunting, my criteria often and really important to me is value, so price point. Now, this is one of the most expensive bows in my shop, so we're going to get to that. What's really important is bow weight, how much the bow weighs, because when you're hunting, you're basically walking, well, for me, I'm walking around all day in the field carrying this bow. Now, a lot of bows on the market are really heavy, so the Halon from Matthews, I'm going to get the poundages wrong, the weight of the bow, 4.8, 4.9, I think the Hoyt was pretty heavy. So a lot of the bows, I cross straight off based on weight, because I'm looking for a light bow. Because if I start off with a bow which is, let's say, 4.8 pounds, by the time I add the quiver, sights, stabilizers, which I may or may not use, you'll notice I haven't fitted stabilizers yet, the bow's becoming too heavy. So for me, weight was a big factor, which is one reason why basically I disregarded the Evolve 35. I did consider the Evolve 35 as more of a field bow, so more of a target 3D bow, but for me I wanted a light hunting bow which was compact, still fast, easy to shoot. Now, so the bows that came to my top of the list, the Carbon Air is really light. It weighs about 3.4 pounds, and by the time I've got all this stuff on it, I figure the bow's around 4 pounds. And that's with quiver and arrows and all that. So it's still under the weight of most bows on the market. Now, the Hoyt carbon bow that I tried was heavier. It was 4 pounds, 4.2, 4.3 pounds. The draw cycle wasn't as easy, and the price point was about 2,000. This is about 2,000 as well, so it's expensive. The other bow I considered was the Decree, new for 2017 from PSE. Very easy draw cycle, it's just I didn't have any in the shop. Price point on that was about 1,200. Now, the reason I chose this over the Decree, because for me I really liked that bow. It was the right sort of bow poundage, similar speed to the Carbon Air. I did like the adjustability of these cams. I thought they drew back really easy. They're 90% let off, which I probably won't shoot. I thought, well, that's pretty cool. Now, one of the bows I did consider right at the top of my list was the Martin Firecat with symmetry cams, and I haven't shot the one with the binary cams yet. Now, the reason that weighed about 3.8, 3.9 pounds, it was very good to draw. The negative points were you can't change the draw length without changing modules. And what I really liked about the PSE was the ability to fit this quiver. Basically, it locks in. I'm just going to spin around this side here. It locks in there, and there's a little pin on the other side there which locks it in place. So if I pull down on this, it can't move because it's locked in with a pin. Now, I like a two-piece quiver. Now, the reason I like a two-piece quiver is it keeps the arrows really close to the bow. So if I just balance the bow in my hand, you can see even with the quiver on, I am getting a slight little movement to the side, but it's not bad, which means if I'm going to add a stabilizer to counterbalance this bow, it's not going to need a lot of weight to do so. Now, the Bears for 2017, I didn't get to try because Bear hasn't actually shipped her shipment this year, so basically slow shipping time. I did like the roller guard here from PSE. I do like this limb pocket design. I like the machine limb pockets. So all up, the other bow I really considered was the Vendetta. I really shot well with the Vendetta. At about $1,000 price point, let's say 850, I thought that was good value. But I thought for myself, I thought the machine limb pockets, the carbon riser, the theory is that this riser is 10 times stronger than any other machined riser on the market. And I thought, well, it's lighter, it's about half a pound lighter, it's got the machine limb pockets, it's got the roller slide system, it's got the Evolve cam system, and I thought 1200. And I thought about it for a long time, so I've been trying all bows and all my bow reviews, and finally this weekend I made a choice. Now the reason I chose this, and when I say the reason, that there's those reasons, this weekend one of my staff members, Tristan, who works in my shop, says he can head shoot rabbits at 50 meters. So that's my plan this weekend, to see if I can do that. So it's just a little thing for myself. It's Easter, so I've set up this bow. Now, so far in the setup process, I've wound the bow up to 60. I've just got a basic 5-pin sight. I've got a basic whisker biscuit arrow rest. Now, I do like this Trekker quiver from PSE. Now, it takes over from the Eclipse quiver, if you remember the Eclipse quiver. Now, the Eclipse quiver was quite heavy, and it had magnets in the hood, and I thought the Trekker quiver didn't have arrows, didn't have magnets in the hood, but just watch this. There's the arrow there. So they do have magnets in the hood, but the quiver's really, really light. So my thing, I really like this quiver in Skullworks. It comes in black and camo. Now, I did consider getting this bow in camo. Most of my hunting bows are camo. The reason I didn't, I really liked the finish of the carbon. I just thought it looked good. I thought I'll just kit it out with black stuff and it will be good. Now, the questions I've got to myself, which I haven't answered yet, stabilizers. I haven't made a decision on stabilizers yet. The reason for that is I'm just going to shoot this bow and see how I shoot with it, and see how the balance is, and see how my accuracy is. Now, stabilizers will increase your accuracy. There's no question at all about that. Adding a stabilizer out the front here with weight will make it harder for you to torque your hand and will reduce left and right movement. It will also make you a little bit more steady when you're aiming. But for myself, I still want the bow to be light, so I haven't made a choice for stabilizers, and this would be my suggestion to you when you go and buy a bow. I would shoot the bow first and then decide how much weight you want to add to a stabilizer, whether you want the rear stabilizer and a front stabilizer. And even if you're looking at the front and the back stabilizer, maybe start with the front one first. I haven't fitted a peep sight yet. Now, part of my reason for that is I shoot here at night time when it's pitch black. Now, adding a peep sight does reduce what you see downrange. So at the moment, I'm not going to fit one, but I may fit one later on. So at the moment, I'm just going to basically shoot arrows with this bow. Now, I'm going to do a couple of videos on this bow. One, I'm going to compare the speed on the Evolve 65% let off to the 90% let off modules. Now, I don't expect there to be much difference in speed. The reason is, as you pull back the bow, the weight's increasing. The speed of the bow is determined largely by how much weight you're holding over the period of the draw curve. Now, the let off only comes in the last smidge, so I don't expect there to be much difference in speed, because it's only that smidge you're going to see a little bit difference. Instead of dropping off to, let's say, 8 pounds, it's going to drop off to 12 pounds. But I think I'm going to shoot better with 65% let off, because it's going to be a little bit more solid in the draw, and I'm going to be interested to test that out. So I'm going to first off test out the 65 versus the 90% let off. I'm going to shoot the bow here and get comfortable with it, and then after that we're going to go and shoot it on a target range at 50 meters and see what sort of groups I get, and then we're going to take this out and see whether it's possible for me to hit a rabbit in the head at 50 meters. And I've seen the photos of it being done, but I'm just saying it's more arse than class. So that's just where I'm up to. So my stages, I set the draw length, set the poundage, just get the feel of the bow. Now, what I really liked about this bow, the carbon, and one reason I picked the carbon, I've got my carbon recurve behind me. I'm shooting here late at night, and my neighbours are looking down on me shooting, and I don't like neighbours looking down on me shooting while I'm shooting at night time. But I thought, well, the carbon bow is meant to be a bit quieter, so the carbon's meant to absorb more noise. So whether that does or doesn't, I don't know, but I think it is a little bit quieter in as far as the recurve. Now shooting this bow, to me it's just ultra quiet. It's, am I going to wake my neighbours at night time shooting this? Maybe, but I don't think so. The one thing about this draw, you get it back and it's like I could hold this thing all day. So if you're in the hunting situation and you've got to aim and the animal's walking and, you know, you're waiting to get that right shot, you can just hold it all day. I like the balance. The balance is good. I love the quiver. So, and the quiver's pretty cheap. The Trekker from PSE, really like it. So, now, when it comes to my hunting setup, my setup may change. I may go to a QAD rest. I may change sights. But I haven't decided which sight to get yet. I haven't decided on the QAD rest. In fact, I may do a speed test comparing the Whisker Biscuit to the QAD rest, because one of my viewers said, oh, well, the QAD is a lot quicker than the Whisker Biscuit. I don't think it is. I think they're just going to shoot about the same speed. So I'm going to be interested to see whether I'm right or whether he was right. So but the balance is pretty good. So as far as me adding stabilizers, I need to get back to 50 meters. I need to shoot more arrows here and see how my groups are, because 50 meters headshot, you're talking a small target, 50 meters, that's a big shot. So now I'm on a group called PSE Archery Talk, I think. PSE Talk, it's a forum on Facebook. And this guy put up a picture of his Evolve 34 and his, Evolve 35 and his Carbon Air 34. So I sent him a message and I said, which one do you shoot better with as far as scores, and which one do you prefer to shoot? Now he said, his response was, I really like the Evolve 35. He said, I've shot it for a couple of months and I really like it. He said, and I've owned the Carbon Air for about 2 weeks, and his view is he's shooting better with his Carbon Air than the Evolve, but he didn't know, because they both have the same cam system. So you're talking one heavy riser, heavy machine riser versus a carbon riser, and you're talking 1 inch difference in axle, that's it. So I was kind of interested from people who shoot both what their opinion was. Got one more arrow. And for people who shoot these bows, it's always good to get their opinion. I've got a number of people who brought this bow. This bow's far more, the Carbon Air in the 32 and the 34 is far more popular than I thought it would be, based on its price point. Because most people are recreational archers. They just shoot in their backyard. They might hunt once a year. They generally don't want to spend $2,000 on a bow, but I've sold quite a few of them. And when they come into my shop, I go, well, how are you finding the bow compared to your other bows? Now, generally speaking, in fact, in every single case, people say this is the best bow they've ever owned. And I've never had another response other than that. So, and I've got people who have got pretty much every other bow you can think of. So part of me making this decision, it took me a while, was basically everyone's comments about the bow, the weight, the draw cycle, like here, and then you hit the valley just there. It's just so easy, you can just hold it. Okay, now I'm shooting at 18 meters. What we're going to do is we're going to go up to the target and see how my accuracy looks at 18 meters with this pin sight. No stabilizers, whisker biscuit. Now, my staff member who's got one of these, he's shooting a different sight, a more expensive sight. He's shooting stabilizers, but I would like to not have to buy a $500 sight, and I would like to not have to put stabilizers on this bow to get the accuracy at 50 meters. So let's just see how it is at 18. Okay, so this is the target I'm shooting. It's at 18. Now, generally in my bow tests, my test on accuracy is basically putting my fingers around the group of arrows. Now with this group, you can see it's off to the center here. So that's the center here. Now that, the group is that big. That's impressive. That's pretty good. They'll all be 10s if I move my sight. Now that gets me to my sight point. I normally shoot, in a lot of my bows, I shoot more expensive sights, and I'll just zoom this up. This sight here is just a $25 sight, 5 pin. The more expensive sights have got micro adjustment left to right, up and down. You can, the XL sight, you can micro adjust each pin individually. Sorry, but you're talking more cost. Now, I personally don't like the look of this color on this bow, and this is an expensive bow. And I'm not blaming my sight for that. What I'm saying is it's going to be easier to adjust my sight when my arrows are a fraction to the left and to the right. And I've got to raise the question whether it's worth a micro adjustment sight to move my pins around, or whether I just keep playing with the sight here. Now, Pete Shepley, who the owner of PSE, would say you don't need a micro adjustment sight for hunting. Keep life simple. Okay, and a lot of the PSE sights are simple. The other thing I've got to consider is whether I want to go for a slider sight versus a 5-pin sight. The problem with a 5-pin sight is all the pins are going to be really, really close, and it kind of clouds the target. You can see my top pin, this is 18 meters, and it's pretty much on, like it's fractionally high but fractionally to the left, but a great group. I'm happy with that bow with my target group, with my target bow. So actually I'm really happy with that group, but I've got to consider the sight. And I've got to consider, do I need a telescopic sight at 50 meters to hit? Because to hit a rabbit, I'm going to have to keep my arrows in the goal. Now, with that group there, I'm going to do it. There's no question at all in my mind, at 50 meters, can I do it with the Carbon Air? I think I can, if I can shoot that group. So, my questions are to myself: a scope, whether I fit a lens or no lens. In past, I have found lenses don't add much to the overall accuracy, but it's going to bring their target up a little bit. It's going to make a minor bit of a difference. A stabilizer will add more difference in my shakiness. But overall, the balance with a bow quiver, all the arrows fitted to the quiver, I love fitting these arrows to the quiver. I mean, it's silent. I mean, you can keep all your other quivers. Like, how quiet is it? There's no noise. Comes straight out. Magnets. Love it. I love it. Okay, so my steps now in the next videos is we're going to speed test the difference between the Evolve 90% let off and 65% let off. The cams are adjusted nice and easy, the draw length, with just a couple of screws there and there and there. 2 screws there and there. I don't need a bow press. I'm doing this at home, so simple top and bottom twin cam system. The yoke, it's a floating yoke system, so you've got nothing to worry about as far as a cam lean. It's all pretty good, really. Life's looking good. So I like the finish. So at the moment, I'm going to go back to making a choice. Especially when I did the review on the Carbonair, I didn't like the price point of $2,000. I'm like, really, can't I just get this for $900? The thing is, no, you can't. You can't get it for $900. And I had to go, well, I can't get a bow this light. The lightest bow I can get is 3.8 in the Decree. It didn't have the Evolve cam systems, but I was happy with the other cam system. But overall, I thought, I'm going to keep this bow. This bow I'm going to keep. So I thought I'm going to bite the bullet and get one and see whether I can shoot at 50 meters that tight group. So see how it goes. Stay tuned for the next videos. Thank you. Bye.